Hello and welcome to the 2023 Belgian Grand Prix here at Spa. It's the last race before the summer break and drivers are coming here with Max Verstappen having won the last 7 races. That's a lot. Let's head over to Tom Clarkson in the press conference to hear from the world's media.
We're going to be joined by Kevin Magnussen very shortly, but with us for now we have Esteban Ocon, Lewis Hamilton, Sergio Perez and Valtteri Bottas. Now, Esteban, you're closest. Let's start with you. First up, how are you physically after breaking your seat and that Turn 1 crash last weekend?
Yeah, I'm recovering, thank you. It's been obviously quite a short period between, the incident and, going back on track quite soon, but I will be okay to race this weekend, which is the most important, and ready to race.
And when we look at the last couple of races for Alpine, if you guys hadn't had bad luck, you'd have no luck at all. What is your message to the team? What is the mood in the camp after 2 such frustrating races, 2 DNFs in both races?
I don't think we can call it on luck, for 2 instances. I think obviously we are not where we want to be exactly. We know what we have to do. We know where we have to progress. And we are obviously bringing some new parts to the car this weekend. Hopefully that's gonna bring us closer to the top 10 to be able to score. But yes, it's going to be important for us to have a good one before the summer break, so we can all go in holidays with a clear mind.
What are you expecting from the new floor in particular this weekend?
I'm fit to the ground at the moment, just seeing what it's going to bring. Obviously it's going to be the important understanding it as well. It's going to be tricky with the format this weekend, especially how very few tires we have on the wets, or in general for the weekend. So just want to see if it brings us closer to the point, so we are going to be able to score again. That's what we want to be achieving.
All right, best of luck with that. Thank you, Esteban. Kevin, coming to you now. Now, since you were last in the FIA press conference, you've become a dad for the second time. How is little Agnes, and how are you feeling? Are you knackered? Are you coming to the races for a break?
No, not at all. She's been super good, and everything's been fine. So I'm fresh as always, and ready to go again.
What about the on-track performance? I felt you seemed a little disheartened in Hungary last weekend. Is that fair?
Well, I don't know. I think it's frustration. Is of course building when you see other teams developing and making big gains, and we haven't seemed to make that big step yet. But I still have all the faith in the team that we can turn it around eventually. It's not going to be immediate, but I think we're doing the groundwork to be able to bring that step later on in the year. It's of course frustrating when you don't have it, and we want to be up there scoring points and doing well, and then at the moment it's a bit hard.
Is the car better in race conditions than it was earlier in the year? Is the tyre wear, the tyre deg better?
I think we have made some progress. It's just that overall our performances have dropped compared to our main competitors. But race qualifying versus race, I think that that has improved. Unfortunately, some of the cars that we used to be racing in the beginning of the year have just become much faster overall, and that's why we don't see that gain so much. But as I said, we're working super hard. The whole team is really working hard, and I think there's still reason to be optimistic for the remaining of the year.
Driver silly season, Kevin. Gene Haas, your boss, is here this weekend. Are you hoping to sit down with him and nail out a new contract for 2024?
We'll see when it happens, and how that pans out. I think at the moment, there's not any news to bring, and eventually, we'll come around to it. I don't really know what's going on. I feel like the team is pretty happy, but you never know with these things, and I take it, one day at a time.
All right. Best of luck this weekend. Thank you. Lewis, if we could come to you now. Such contrasting fortunes in Hungary last weekend, it felt. A brilliant Saturday, a slightly more difficult race. Where does that leave you and Mercedes coming into Spa this weekend? What can we expect from you?
I think it leaves us optimistic. I think we had a it was amazing to have that experience on Saturday. It shows that there's potential in the car, and everyone's working incredibly hard to bring performance. And I think our end of race pace was very good. We just have to work on we've understood what the issue was at the beginning, and and we've got some upgrades here this weekend. So hopefully that the weather's going to be interesting. But
You mentioned performance there. How much are you still firefighting with the W14, and how much are you actually working on performance?
Well, I mean, as a driver, you're constantly battling the inconsistencies with balance, but we are flat out trying to improve. And just as Kevin says, we're working a lot to analyze where we are and what we can do to try and make those big steps that some of the others potentially have, like McLaren and Red Bull often make. So hopeful and have all the faith in the world that we will eventually get there too.
And Lewis, we're just over the halfway point in the season. Can you just give us a brief summary of how you think it's gone for you and Mercedes so far?
I think it's been decent. I mean, we didn't start where we wanted to be at the beginning of the year, but we just made a lot of progress. There's been a huge amount of progress over the season so far, and hoping that there'll be a lot more in the second phase.
What were your expectations coming into this year?
To be fighting for a world championship. That's always the expectation. No, honestly, it was just to have be in a much better position than we were last year, and I think that wasn't the case. With all the amazing work that goes on through winter, we kind of started further behind, and so it's been a big, steep uphill climb. But really proud of the team. We're fighting for a second in the championship as a constructors championship, which is definitely something we didn't expect after what we felt at the first test, and that's really down to the great teamwork that's happening in the background.
And the goals for the second half of the season?
My full focus is on to try and secure a second for the team. I think everyone back at the factory, it means a huge amount for them. And whilst we can't currently catch the Red Bulls, I think that puts us in good position for next year.
Can you win a race?
At the moment, not quite sure we can currently compete with them race pace. I mean, I think there were times in the last race Max was around 0.8 faster than everyone on a single lap. So, but never say never.
All right. Thank you, Lewis. Best of luck this weekend. Checo, coming to you now. A great race by you on Sunday in Hungary. Do you feel you made the one-lap progress on Saturday that you wanted to last weekend?
Yeah, I certainly feel like we were a lot stronger on that qualifying. But obviously it was a different qualifying, and we got caught out, I think, going on to the soft. And the margins were extremely close. So just being on the wrong tenth of it meant that I started P9 rather than being inside the top 4, top 5. So I think in the regard it was positive.
You said on Sunday night that it's all about consistency for you now. Has the sprint come at a good time for you, or would you rather have more than just the one practice session at the start of the weekend?
I mean, we've done a lot of races and practices. It's the same for everyone, so it doesn't change anything. But we've seen it before, the margins in qualifying are very small, so if you don't get already like Q1 right, it could be very easily out. We saw it last weekend. I think with George, he was out of Q1 and Lewis was on pole, so it can just happen to anyone out there.
Do you think the margins in qualifying, if it's dry, unlikely, but if it's dry, do you think the margins in qualifying will be very small here?
I think so. I think with the new tire, everyone is extremely close, and I see no reason why they should be any different.
All right, and Checo, can you just sum up the first half of the season as well, please? How do you feel it's gone?
I think for the team has been a great first half of the year. It would be great to keep it the same for that second half of the year. On my side, I think I had 4 or 5 weekends where I didn't maximize the full result that I had on the table, and that has cost me a lot of points, But I had a very strong start to the season, and I just think on this second half of the year, I just want to bring my form back and be able to to score as many points as possible in the coming races.
Is it just form on your side, or is it the fact that the car is not where you want it now compared to where it was at the start of the year?
It has changed a bit in that regard. I think when we went to Barcelona, I found a bit of a different balance compared to what I wanted. But I think now we've come on top of that. We've made some good progress. We've had some good race pace in the last few races, but qualifying hasn't been going our way. So yeah, I think it's just how it is. You know, through the years, sometimes you have a bit of bad races, but it's important where we finish in Abu Dhabi, I think.
All right, thank you. Best of luck to you this weekend. Valtteri, thank you for waiting. What an incredible qualifying by you guys last weekend. 5th and 7th. How much was that a surprise to you?
It definitely was a positive surprise. We took that result happily on Saturday, but I think everything kind of came together. We had the upgrade in Silverstone. We learned a bit more about it in terms of the setup, and then the track just suited our car pretty well, I think. So yeah, just those type of corners that Budapest offers seem to work well for us. Unfortunately, in the race, we were not quite on the same pace as in the quali, and yeah, was a bit unlucky at the start as well. So yeah, no points, which is of course disappointing after that kind of Saturday.
Where was the car especially good in Hungary?
I would say all the twisty stuff, like all the lower speed corners, long corners, it seemed good. And also, it feels like whenever there's more straight line, it's a bit more of a struggle for our car at the moment. So let's see how we go here.
Well, what about here then, with that long 20-second flat-out segment from turn 1 up to Les Combes?
I would definitely myself say on paper Budapest would be stronger for us than here, but yeah, also now this weekend I think the weather is going to play a big part. It's a sprint weekend. There's going to be opportunities. So yeah, we still try and keep maximizing everything with the new package and learning about the setup and hopefully squeezing a bit more out of it.
And Valtteri, can you just sum up the season so far? You've scored 9 points as a team after 11 races. Same point last year, 51 points.
Until this point of the season, we haven't met the targets we set as a team, and everyone accepts it and is working as hard as ever to get back up there. But it is the situation now. We're not, satisfied with it, but it is motivating to see that even with small gains you can make good progress. So yeah, again, progress, improvements. That's the key for the second half.
All right. Thank you, Valtteri. Best of luck this weekend. Let's open this to the floor now. Please give your name and publication. First question. Yep.
David Croft, Sky Sports F1. Good afternoon, gentlemen. It's a question for you all. Sorry, Tom. Don't often talk tyres, but I often hear you saying your views don't get taken into consideration. So give me your views. If the F1 Commission votes to remove tyre blankets for next season, what are your worries about going into racing without tyres that have been warmed in the blankets, or what do you think could benefit the sport by doing so?
Kevin, let's start.
I think no blankets. I've done a test and it's okay. The tires are what they are. When they're hot, it's okay, I guess. But the warm-up phase and the out laps are gonna be super tricky. I think on in a race situation, when you need to hurry up on the out lap, I don't think it's gonna be that much fun. So unless they improve that, I don't know if it's gonna work.
I didn't test these tires, but listening to Kevin, I think it also takes away, some strategy games in the race, because you cannot undercut people anymore. And we've seen different category trying it as well. On a dump track or something, when you have to switch to slicks, and I just don't think it is the right thing to do with the technology we have at the moment. Obviously trusting Pirelli to do a good job with it, but if you have a tire that works at cold temperature, it will degrade massively. That is always the problem that you face, with tires.
Lewis, please.
what they said, basically. I've already spoken about this, so not really much more to add to it.
Okay, Checo, anything from you?
Just a safety concern on the drivers. I've done the test. I did it last year in Monza, and I think it's the main concern, that outlap.
I think everything has been covered except from my side. Yeah, the pressure rise is still an issue because obviously you need to still start with a certain minimum pressure. But once there's such a big difference in the temperature, obviously the pressure gets very high, and that means you lose grip. More degradation. And if you're following another car, then it's even more worse. So there's still work to do, obviously, but time will show.
Welcome back to Spa-Francorchamps for part 2 of our drivers' press conference. We're all swapping hats. Look, welcome. We've got Alex Albon, Lando Norris, Yuki Tsunoda, Lance Stroll, and Charles Leclerc. Alex, why don't we start with you? You've got the wooden spoon. You're sitting next to me. Let's talk about these last few races. You've scored points in 2 of the last 4. How do you rate your chances here at Spa?
I think we have a good chance. I think car-wise we are in a good place. I feel like the last few races we've been able to get comfortable with the new upgrades, and Hungary was a circuit that shouldn't normally suit us, and we finished P11. So feeling positive going into this weekend, but with the rain, I think there's a little bit of a doubt over your performance. It becomes not random, but a little bit more random. So let's see.
Alex, you mentioned your performance. You've been receiving a lot of praise, both in the media and from your team principal, about the job you've been doing this year. Can you just tell us how much are you enjoying racing at the moment, and do you feel that you're driving better than ever?
I feel like it goes hand in hand. I feel like, of course, when the car gets quicker as well and you're fighting for more points, people talk about it a little bit more. But that's not to say I don't think. I think we're doing a great job. I feel like as a team, driving-wise as well, I'm feeling comfortable and confident in the car, which is always important. And it's just great, going to every race weekend, being able to fight for points and being in that area where you feel like you go to every weekend knowing that. It just builds confidence and motivation for everyone in the team. So I would say we're enjoying these moments, and hopefully we can score some more points.
And have you enjoyed the whole of the first half of this season? Just give us your thoughts on how you feel everything's gone.
Yeah, I have to say it's been a really good year for us so far. I don't want to say too much, but it feels like the way that we started in Bahrain and where we are right now, we've made great progress. Maybe not as much as the McLarens, but on our side we are heading into the right direction. And as I said, I don't know where we are. I think we're 7th right now in the constructors, tied. So if you told me that at the start of the year, I think if you told anyone from the team that at the start of the year, we would have bitten your arm off. So it's going well. Obviously, we just need to stay focused and keep going at it. But I'm sure, as a team, we can take the summer break off and enjoy it and come back refreshed.
Alex, thank you. Best of luck this weekend. Lando, coming to you. You're a man on a roll after back-to-back podiums at Silverstone and at the Hungaroring. What are your expectations here?
I want to say the same. Spa is one of my favourite circuits of the season. Conditions which generally we perform pretty well in, so there's no reason why we shouldn't say to kind of continue where we've been. It's I guess another challenge for us in terms of circuit and layout, and another opportunity for us to see where the car really stands. But the team have been doing a great job. I think we've been doing a great job with strategy and everything else that we can do. So another weekend I look forward to try and achieve similar things.
Do you think the car will be quick here? I mean, you joked on Sunday about turn 1 here at Spa not favouring the car, but on balance, do you think you should be competitive?
It's very tough to say. I mean, we'd see what the conditions are going to do first of all. I think a couple of years ago things were going very well in the wet until it all went horribly wrong. But the car's competitive. We've clearly made a big step. Fighting cars we weren't expecting to, or being ahead of cars we weren't expecting to be ahead of, and fighting for podiums, fighting for pole position. So I'm not going to say no to the answer, but you could be a trickier weekend than the last few.
You say it's been a big step. There have been reports this week as much as a second a lap. These
Yeah, no,
upgrades.
that's it's a no. But no, it's. I don't think it is. It's a fact. It's not a second, but it's. I think that the biggest thing is a lot of other teams that were competitive in the start aren't as competitive now. If you look at Aston Martin, you look at Ferrari, they were a lot closer to the front than what they are now, and we just seem to have swapped positions for some reason. But they've, I don't know if they've taken a step back or Red Bull have taken a step forward or what. But yeah, we weren't expecting at all we were expecting the upgrade to help us race against them. And so far, a lot of these races, we've been ahead of them. So it's definitely not 1 second. I think some of these tracks that we've been to, we've performed well at in the past. You know, Silverstone was already P4 last year. Budapest already last year, we were P5, P6 or something. So they're tracks we have performed well at in the past, and now we've just taken another step forward. But like I said, there's still tracks that I know we're not going to be as competitive in, and then it's not going to look like we made a 1 second step forward. So yeah, we'll see. But the team have obviously done an extremely good job, and we're continuing to try and make another step.
Might not be a second, but can you just tell us how different is the car to drive now to the one that you first drove at the start of the year?
It's, I mean, my honest answer is it's not a lot different. It's just quicker.
So in terms of balance, it doesn't feel that different?
No. But it doesn't matter. We're still fighting for podiums, and it's a lot quicker. So that's all I kind of ask for in a way. The car is still difficult to drive. It's difficult to be consistent. I think we still need to do a better job with tyre management and so on. I think that was clear from last weekend that it was one of our weaker areas. But I think we can be more than happy with the step forward that we've made. I don't think, as much as I'm always going to complain about certain things, you know, because that's what every driver does. But for us to go from where we were in, you know, struggling to get out of Q1 in the first few races to fighting for pole, I would say it's one of the biggest turnarounds in Formula One for a very long time. So, and during the middle of a season. So, no, I'm very happy. There's always things to improve on, and that's what we're trying to do.
Right. Lando, thank you. Best of luck to you this weekend. Yuki, it's early days, but how are things going with your new teammate?
I think it's good. Learning lots of things from him already. So yeah, it's fun to do a couple of filming with him in a Thursday. Thursday became slightly more fun, I think, for the contents. But other than that, not much difference. Yeah, it's good.
Is his feedback about the car different to Nick's?
I think it's similar. In the end, what I'm saying and what Daniel's saying is quite similar. So I'm obviously just had one race, and Hungary is a little bit difficult to say, but so far it's not much difference.
What about the performance of the car? Do you feel you're making progress?
Hungary, yes. Fortunately, I smashed my front wing in the FP1, so it's my fault. But rear wing, we made a step. To be honest, I don't know new upgrade about front wing because sadly, it's gone in the FP1 for me. So, but I think other than that, it's just we made a step in some rear wing. I think performance was pretty good in terms of car in Hungary, but just I couldn't put it all together from my side. We made a bit of step, but probably not as much as still we want. And I think Hungary is more like slow speed corners where still mechanical grip requires, which we are quite good at, like we see in Azerbaijan. But I think still an overall package of still missing performance a little bit that we're compared to where we want to.
So Yuki, you've made a step forward with the car in Hungary. What about the season as a whole so far? Have you made the step forward that you wanted to make in 2023 in terms of what you're doing?
Yeah, I'll say so. Happy with the performance, first couple of races. Last 3 races, it's been a little bit messy for myself. Yeah, still there's a couple of limitations like in the radio, so where I wanted to focus to improve. about it is sometimes I rush to kind of, you know, like overperform to, you know, be into Q3, Q2, whatever, and sometimes kind of mistakes started to have more consistently rather than, you know, first couple of races just discover how the car performance is, so just see how it goes, and I was not really rushed to. But yeah, we started to like, you know, stay the performance, or like we're slightly towards back now, you know, compared to first few races, and rushed into like score points, but you know, those kind of rushing makes more consistent mistakes. So yeah, just have to reset myself and yeah, just try to focus on what I can do, and yeah, but I still happy with my progress what I had in this year compared to last year, and yeah, it's good. And I think Daniel will give some more information, more I think places that I have to improve. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Well done, Yuki. Don't hurry, just be quick.
Thanks. Yeah, I will.
Lance, let's come to you now. You're half Belgian, so does this feel like another home Grand Prix for you?
Well, I don't spend much time here. But yeah, my mom's from Belgium, so it's always nice to come back and have a waffle.
Well, look, let's talk about your racing car. On Sunday, team principal Mike Crack said that the Grand Prix had been a bit of a wake-up call for you guys. Where do you feel the performance of the car is at the moment?
Yeah, not where we want to be. You know, we started the season very strong. You know, second, third fastest car. You know, some races depending, you know, on the track, but the last few weekends have been more challenging for us. So we definitely, you know, have a few things to work on to, you know, get back to where we want to be.
What have been the challenges in these last few races? Where's the pace gone?
Well, you know, going around the corners faster and down the straights faster, that always helps. So no, I mean, I think it's, you know, just a lot of little details, you know, and yeah, I mean, just the usual stuff, you know, working around some of the limitations of the car, balance through the corner, and you know, finding some more, you know, downforce and all that kind of stuff. But I think we have some ideas, so yeah, I'm, you know, looking forward to the second half of the season.
Well, before we get to the second half, we've got this Grand Prix at Spa. How do you fancy your chances? Do you think it'll be, well, you've just talked about the strengths and weaknesses a bit. Do you think this is going to be a challenging Grand Prix for Aston Martin?
I think it's going to be a challenging race for everyone. I mean, it's a sprint weekend by the looks of it. The weather is going to be, you know, the biggest factor. One session, and, you know, a wet track around here is always challenging. So, yeah, I think it will be challenging, but, you know, exciting at the same time. You know, great track to drive, and you know, conditions will be difficult, but it's the same for everyone. So yeah, looking forward to the weekend.
All right, best of luck to you. Thank you, Charles. Thank you for waiting. So back to the scene of your first Grand Prix victory. Does Spa always bring the best out in you?
Oh, I'm trying to do my best every single race weekend. Then, of course, it's always special to come back to the place where you've won your first race. It was a very, I mean, it is a very special memory for me. It was a very special moment at the time, even though it was done in circumstances that was difficult to obviously enjoy the moment, as we had lost Antoine the day before. But it's a special track. I think every drivers really enjoy this track. And we can always expect some exciting weather, and this weekend it looks like it's going to be pretty wet the whole weekend, so hopefully we'll be competitive in those conditions.
Well, do you welcome the wet weather? Do you think you will be competitive?
Honestly, I think we've been quite good whenever it was full wet or full dry, or at least we were maximizing our package. I struggled personally a bit more in the half wet, half dry conditions, but we put quite a bit of work into it, so I'm confident that if we find ourselves in those situations again, I'll be back at the level I want to be.
We've seen fluctuating fortunes for Ferrari in the last few races. Austria was great, then two difficult races for the team. How can you explain what's gone on?
Well, first of all, every teams are super close now, especially in qualifying. You look at the Budapest qualifying, and we were all within 700-800 hundreds in Q3, so it was apart from the top three. But where I was, everybody was so close, so the smallest difference can have a big influence on your results. And at the moment, that's where we are as a car. Then I think as a team at the track, we need to focus on every single details, because now more than ever, it makes a big influence on your end results in qualifying especially. And in Budapest, we probably left a bit of performance here and there, which had a big consequence on our weekend. Then the big picture is that we aren't fast enough, and this we know it, and we are putting all the effort to be back at where we want to be as quickly as possible.
Best of luck. Thank you to you. Let's open this to the floor. And name and publication, please.
David Croft, Sky Sports F1. Lando, great to see you back on the podium. You've had a smashing time up there last couple of races. Do the other drivers fancy joining Lando in those podium celebrations that he's making his at the moment? And did you pick up the tab for the broken trophy yourself?
I knew you'd bring it up. I mean, first of all, I don't want to apologise for it. I obviously had no intention in ever doing such a thing. And I know how much it means to the Hungarians and part of their culture and so forth. So, yeah, like, of course I want to enjoy the time. It was never my intention to do such a thing. And I did apologise to Max. I know I obviously made a couple of jokes about it, which maybe I shouldn't. But I do feel bad for if he did it to my trophy, I would be annoyed, you know. So I do apologise for it, and obviously the people who put the time and effort in and everything into making it. I really didn't mean for it to happen, so I'll make sure I'm a lot more careful next time on celebrating. That's all I say.
Lando, are you going to change the way you celebrate on the podium, or how you start the champagne spray?
I wouldn't say no. I mean, I'm just there's no reason why I should. I'll just take a little bit more care with obviously what I do. But yeah, I'll just move the trophies aside and then continue.
We'll be back tomorrow for all the action across Formula 1, 2 and 3, as well as the Porsche Super Cup. Don't forget that this weekend is also the final Formula E race at London and the return of BTCC at Croft. All the action will be here on JV Motorsports. See you tomorrow.